Well, hello there. Welcome to Real Talks Baseball. We have a special edition show for you guys today. What a crazy day in the MLB world. If you guys know, the MLB trade deadline was today. It was a crazy one. I cannot recall the last time we had a trade deadline like this one. This one was a very special one. Every 30 MLB teams made a single trade today. So it was exciting. There was a lot of great pickups by a lot of teams, but there was also a lot of bad moves by a lot of teams. So we'll be breaking it down for the next 30 to 45 minutes, all the winners and losers of the trade deadline. Now, for those asking, my boy Carlo Baseball had to sit this one out for personal reasons, but he'll be back for the weekend show for Power Hour. Don't worry, he'll be right back. But yeah, man, we had a great show for trade deadline. It was definitely a great one, man. You're talking about every single team made a trade, and it was really impressive how these teams were able to make some crazy trades. We could start off with the Padres today. Wow, what a crazy trade we had there. AJ Preller, a sneaky GM, is not the typical GM you find around in the MLB, but he made some impressive moves. This Padres team was built to win, and they're, for me, one of the clear winners of this trade deadline. They had some impressive traits going on. Their bullpen is looking like the most promising bullpen in baseball. You added Mason Miller, a guy that throws 100-mile fastball, is a flamethrower, has the nastiest stuff in the game, but you did give up one of your top prospects, Leo DeBreeze, considered top 5 prospect in the MLB. But you know what? AJ Preller doesn't have time to wait for prospects. The window for the Padres is closing. He said, it's time to win. I want to have the best bullpen possible. I want to beat the Dodgers. I want to have the bullpen of Dodgers last year, and this is my time to win. So this is a crazy move, adding Mason Miller. Man, you add Mason Miller to already a deep bullpen with Adrian Morjan, Jason Adam, Robert Suarez, and it just continues. This team is locked and ready to go for September and October. They are built to win. Now, not only did they do that, they also added more pieces to the rest arsenal. They added Ryan O'Hearn, Ramon Laureano, and dude, this team wants to win. They're not waiting around. They are competing, and you got to give it up to AJ Preller because he is doing things that most GMs wouldn't think doing. But even though they won this trade deadline, they also lost some key pieces for the future. And there were some couple names mentioned, like Dylan Cease, that should have potentially been traded since he's going to be a free agent next year. Also, Robert Suarez. No, AJ Preller decided to stick around with those guys and still compete. And you never know. This may potentially hurt them down the road in the future. But for now, this was a great move for the Padres. I think they're built to win going on October and does provide a good roster and versatility to defeat the Dodgers in October. So good for them. Now, another winner I want to add to the list is the Seattle Mariners. Just last week, me and Carlo Baseball discussed about how the Mariners desperately needed to make some desperate moves that they want to make the playoffs and go on a deep run. Well, I think we made Jerry DePoto make the right call. You know, he made a trade last week for Josh Naylor, was one of the first trades of the trade deadline. Well, he didn't wait much longer. He added Eugenio Suarez to the deadline. What a huge pickup for the Mariner team. Now their offense is built to win with Eugenio Suarez, Josh Naylor. Man, that's a tough team to beat. Randy Arozarena and Julio Rodriguez, and then your potential MVP player, Cal Raleigh. Wow, that's such an impressive team. And then not only that, you have the top rotation in baseball. So this team is definitely built to win. One of our big concerns last show was how about their bullpen. Now, they only made one simple move in the trade deadline for bullpen help, and that was to get a left-hander bullpen guy like Caleb Ferguson, who has experience. Now, I'm not sure if that's enough, but I think Jared DePoto depends on his offense, and he feels like with the starting rotation he has, those guys could also go very deep into games. So I think he's only really focusing on making sure he has a 7th, 8th, and 9th guy to win these games. So big props to the Mariners team. They're huge winners. We got Carlo Baseball on the chat. I know he couldn't join the show, but he is on the live chat. So make sure to hit him up on the comments. Discuss who you think was a big winner, who the big loser. So if you guys are on the chat, make sure to let us know who won this trade or who lost on this trade deadline. But for sure, the Mariners were a top team. I know they're not very discussed. They're not being discussed a lot right now because they're a team that made trades early in the trade deadline. But this trade deadline focuses on the whole week of the trade deadline. And I feel like the Mariners definitely had one of the best weeks. They did it quietly, not expecting it. But this is a Mariners team that could compete against this Astro team this year. Remember, the Astros are kind of a bit banged up on their pitching. Jeremy Pena's been dealing with a rib fracture. Jordan Alvarez is also hurt. And Isaac Paredes is dealing with a nasty hamstring injury that could potentially lead him to a season-ending injury. So if the Mariners had a better shot, it would possibly be this year, and their window is now. So good for them. I think as all MLB baseball fans, we would love to see the Mariners go deep. It would be great to see a new team be in the picture and win in the AL East instead of the Astros. Now, the Astros didn't stay very much quiet. This AL West was an impressive trade deadline. Every single team made trades. You had the A's selling, making sure they've got some pieces for the future, trading to the Padres. You had the Rangers, who also made a big splash, getting Merrill Kelly, an experienced pitcher. This guy could eat up innings easily, eats up innings, and strikes out a lot of batters. I mean, it's a huge addition to already a deep rotation of the Rangers. They're also talking about, you have Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi, Tyler Mahle, and now you add Merrill Kelly with also Patrick Corbin, who's having a pretty good year. That's an impressive rotation. Both the Mariners and the Rangers are 5 games back of the going into the playoffs and for that wild card spot, but both teams built to win. And you talk about the Rangers team offensively, they have not been performing well, but they are a team that does have a lot of experience and could improve in the second half of the season. So this Rangers team is not out. They built to win as well. I mean, just 2 years ago, you were talking about they're the World Series champions, and now they're bolstered the rotation. So this team could potentially be a sneaky, scary team that you do not want to face in the playoffs. Now, you want to talk about the Astros team. The Astros also had a little reunion. It was a great one today. Carlos Correa, he decided to do his no-trade clause, and he said, you know what? The one and only team I would go back to is my hometown Astros. And he said, I'm all here. I'm going back to Houston. So the Twins made a big splash trading for, I apologize. The Astros made a big splash getting Carlos Correa. And that was a big, big, big trade. The Astros are definitely dealing with some injuries in short and third base. Now the question mark, where is Jeremy Pena going to play when he comes back? Does that mean Carlos Correa goes to the hot corner in third base? There's a lot of questions to be answered, but this Astros team did not stay quiet, and they also bolstered the infield by bringing back one of their star-studded players like Carlos Correa, which it's a great reunion. I was kind of tired of seeing Carlos Correa being booed everywhere he went. Being in a Twins uniform, it just never seemed right. He seems like he's always been an Astro, part of that cheating scandal, so it's only right for him to finish his career with the Astros. So good for the Astros there. What a huge, huge, huge move. Now, to the Astros, what's going on, Nick? Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, man, we really appreciate you tuning in again today to our show. Let us know who was your winners and losers of this trade deadline. Carlos Baseball is on the chat, keeping it active, making sure you guys are engaging. Well, thank you, Carlos, for that. But yeah, talking about this AL West is basically very open right now. Any team could win, but want to talk about a loser. And that is my Anaheim Angels. Man, what a huge disappointment trade deadline for us. I honestly consider this a big loss for our team. We did not buy or sell. I mean, we did make some couple bullpen moves, but honestly, I don't really understand what the moves were for. I mean, at this point, we're not really going to make or go on a deep run into the playoffs. So I asked myself, why not just sell our expiring contracts? We had great pieces like Kenley Jansen, Taylor Ward, and, John Moncada. The names keep piling up, and you ask yourself, why did we not make a single trade? Oswaldo Peraza, a guy that's batting under 200, it's not going to be an answer. It's not going to help us go on a deep run. I mean, I know Artie Moreno wants to compete and wants to be in the mix every single season, but honestly, with the way the roster is being built right now, I don't see nothing happening. We were better off just selling a lot of these top expiring contracts, get a lot of top prospects for them, and focus on the next year, especially without having our manager, Ron Washington, in the picture. I mean, Ray Montgomery has been doing the best as he can as the interim manager, but I'm not sure if he's an answer for the full long term of this Angels future, So, man, out of the AL West, definitely the Angels were the biggest disappointment here. They're losers. Not too happy with them. They had potential to make some big trades, and they just did not squat. We did not improve. We did not get better, and we didn't get worse. And we're at the point where we're like 8 games behind the first place right now, 4 games out of the wild card. I'm not sure how it's going to go for us going forward. So, man, I'm really hoping this Angel team focuses on next year and, has a greater free agency going forward. But now let's head into the AL East. And this was definitely one of the most interesting divisions this year for this trade deadline. You had the Red Sox, who made some last-minute trades. early in the trade deadline, we were thinking this team is actually not making any sense right now in this trade deadline. Well, they answered our question marks. They went and got Dustin May. I know he's overcoming some injuries, but he's still a great arm out there, and he could deliver some great innings for this Red Sox team. If you guys know, the Red Sox and Dodgers always make trades with one another. They have a great relationship with one another. And let us know in the comments, did the Red Sox make a good splash with Dustin May? I mean, they already have a good rotation with Garrett Crochet. Brian Baylor's kind of finally finding his groove again. Lucas Giolito's also making some noise now. And adding Dustin May to your rotation is only going to make this team better with Walker Buehler. I think they're just having some doubts with their other pitchers like Tanner Hoke. And they also have Patrick Sandoval, who hasn't came back from injury. So I think that's a huge concern going forward. I think they needed to get some good pieces there, and Dustin May was definitely that answer. They gave up one of their top prospects, Tip Dobbins, whom they received from the Giants in the Devers trade. But hey, man, they're focusing on winning now, especially with this Yankee team who has been struggling lately offensively. And I think Nick Yates also adds in the comment they added Steven Matz for Blaze Jordan. And that was also a great pick. I mean, can't go wrong with Steven Matz. Is a great experienced pitcher there. But this Red Sox team was kind of quiet. I grade them a C. I think it was overall a good trade. I don't think it's nothing that was impressive or a big wow to everybody, but hey, at least they made some noise, right? Now the Blue Jays, on the other hand, they did get some bullpen help. They got Sir Anthony Dominguez. They got Shane Bieber, which is a huge surprise. I mean, Shane Bieber has been in the mix for a while in this game, and, he's overcoming another Tommy John surgery. The guy looked great in this, his rehab assignment, but overall, I think Shane Bieber could provide those inning support that they need, and another big arm in their rotation with Kevin Gossman, Jose Barrios, and experienced guys like Chris Bassett and Max Scherzer. So this team's a little bit older, a little bit more experienced. I think the rotation could definitely make some noise, and with Jeff Hoffman leading the closer role, I think that's perfect. I know there is another guy out there that they got, so there's definitely another bullpen guy. Just want to double check with you guys there. I know they got some other guy there. Dude, there were so many trades. It was hard to keep track. But yes, the last one the Blue Jays got was Louis Barlin and Ty France. And I think Louis Barlin's been having a great year in this Twins team. He has an ERA under over 2, but overall pitching really good for an okay Twins team. So I think that was a huge pickup for the Blue Jays. I think overall they're set offensively and pitching-wise. They got great bullpens. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with these trades. I feel like the Blue Jays didn't give much. And they still got some great pieces, some great bullpen depth, and another starter. They cannot go wrong. Offensively, I think they're built to win with Dalton Varsho in center, Vladdy in first, George Springer, you name it, Ernie Clement, my tocayo out there playing really good in the infield. And they still don't even have Anthony Santander. I don't even know if he's coming back this season. But overall, this team is built to win, and they're pretty locked in. But I think the biggest winner of the AL East has to totally go to the New York Yankees. They definitely made some moves this trade deadline, but a lot of question marks, right? They made a lot of bullpen depth. They went out after Camilo Doval, David Bednar, Jake Bird, a lot of back-end relievers. Now the question mark is, who the heck is going to pitch the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning? I really want to know, who is the Yankees closer? Who the heck's going to pitch on those crucial moments? Is Aaron Boone going to make the right call and put the right guy at the right moment? Because this bullpen is going to be loaded. Now the question mark, who the heck do you want to close out your game? Because if you guys know, David Bednar has had a shaky 2025 season start. 2024 was not his year. And then Camilo Doval, he's a great closer, but he's also been very shaky. Jake Bird is a guy that's also was with the Rockies. How is he going to do with the Yankees and transition to New York, a bigger media presence? And it's not going to be easy. Obviously, he's going to be with his teammate, Ryan McMahon, but that adjustment to play in New York is totally different than playing in Colorado. The pressure is definitely the same. You got Devin Williams, who also was shaky last season and this year has lost his closer role. Luke Weaver, who's also really good. But, man, I think the Yankees were just focusing already on next year. Luke Weaver and Devin Williams are pending free agents going into the off. So, hey, how about we start focusing on other bullpen guys that we could lock with team control for the future? Overall, I think the Yankees have a promising bullpen, and that's what they mostly. He's not the answer. In short, he's having a terrible offensive and defensive year with the most errors in the season. They went ahead and got Jose Caballero from the Rays. I think that's a huge addition. Not only that guy plays great defense, and he overall has a great bat. And I mean, he just does just the same as Anthony Volpe for a way cheaper price. And, you know, for a rental, why not? Might as well have this much help as possible. You know, with Aaron Judge being in the IL, we need the most help for him possible. So we got Nick saying that Shane Bieber might actually be a good pickup. I totally agree, man. I think he has the nastiest stuff out there once he's healthy. And I think if the Blue Jays know him refine, he's going to be just great. So over on the AL East, you got to give it up to this Yankee team. I think it was a huge surprise to us. You know, the first trade they made in the trade deadline was Austin Slater. We were like, what the heck is this about? But overall, I think every Yankee fan could go to sleep today knowing that they built their team for the playoffs. And it looks pretty good, if you ask me. They needed help in bullpen, and they found the answers. Now, they found a lot of bullpen help, but you can't go wrong with bullpen. Ask the Dodgers. Just last season, the Dodgers had a banged-up starting rotation, and they proved to show that the bullpen was the most important part of the postseason. And I think that's what the Yankees' strategy is. Why not focus on our bullpen, make sure we lock down every guy starting from the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and we're going to secure these wins in the playoffs. And I think Nick brings a great point. The Yankees are proving they're trying to win without Judge right now. Yes, and that AL wildcard is a tight race right now. And I think we're not sure how long Aaron Judge is going to be out for. So if you're a Yankee team right now, you need to make sure you can secure as many wins as possible to get that playoff spot. But we have other teams, the Orioles, who felt like they traded almost everybody in this trade deadline, which overall, I would say they had an overall good trade deadline. They traded all their expiring contracts like Ryan O'Hearn, Ramon Laureano, their bullpen guys like Sir Anthony Dominguez, you name it. They were trading all their pieces, which was great because they got a lot of prospects for the future. And I think that's the most important part right now. Somehow they still locked in their core guys, and they're focusing on the future. The one guy that they were not able to trade was Sugano. He's a little bit older, and I think the teams were just not willing to give as much as the Orioles were expecting. So they were like, what the heck? Might as well just keep him. There's no problem with that. But overall, I think this Orioles team did okay. I mean, you were supposed to do. You're not making the playoffs, and you're just going to send these players away and try to get as much as possible prospects going forward. And I think they did the right thing. Now, the last team in the AL East is the Tampa Bay Rays, which were kind of confusing if you ask me. They're still in the mix for the wild card race, but yet they're not making any attempt to be buyers. If anything, they were sellers. They traded away their starting pitcher, Todd Riley, for Griffin Jacks. I mean, I think they wanted a future bullpen guy like Griffin Jacks. I'm not sure why Todd Riley would get traded, but that one didn't make sense to me. Jose Caballero going to the Yankees? You're giving the Yankees help? What was that about? But hey, man, these guys are just focusing on the future. The Rays have never been a team about trying to pay their players big contracts anyway. So this is a reason why I think the Rays were mid on this trade deadline. And I think overall the Yankees was the winner in this AL East. Now let's go to the AL Central. I think the AL Central was definitely an interesting one. We had the Guardians who were supposed to trade Steven Kwan. Nothing happened there. Just a lot of noise and nothing happened. I mean, Emmanuel Clase really messed it up for everybody there with the gambling investigation. He was supposed to be the biggest target for teams, but yet that investigation ruined everything for the Guardians this trade deadline. And I feel like they just were like, whatever, Shane Bieber's the answer. We don't really need him anymore. He's been through a lot of injuries, a little bit past his prime. Why not get rid of him? Other than that, we had the White Sox. We don't know what the heck they were doing. Luis Rivera was there. He's been talked about for the past 3 seasons. Nope. No one traded for him either. The asking price was way too much, and I think we needed to just get rid of him already at this point. You've been talking about getting rid of him for the past couple seasons, and Luis Rivera has not delivered. He's been banged up with injuries and just been a subpar player for your team. So I think it's best if you were to at least get some prospects. Better than nothing, right? And, I mean, you have him under control, paying him a big chunk of your payroll for him not to deliver. So that was a tough White Sox today. I was not a big fan. You also had Adrian Hauser, who was traded last minute to a team, if I'm not mistaken. Man, if you guys could help me in the chat, who Adrian Hauser got traded to. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was a Rays. A guy that was picked up in free agency, not expected to do much, but overall had a great year so far. So at least they got something out of him. You had Mike Tauchman possible to be traded. Nothing happened there. So for me, the White Sox, you get a big fat F for me. As an organization, you need to start focusing on the future, and that this trade deadline was not it. You have the Twins, who sold everybody. They clearly said they were going to trade everybody. The one player that we were expecting to trade was Joe Ryan. MLB on Fox reported that Joe Ryan had been traded to the Red Sox. Well, that was a lie. And I think they got everybody because we all believe MLB on Fox is one of the most credible sources out there for baseball news. And they definitely let us down a little bit today. So MLB on Fox will get it back together. Don't worry. But yeah, Joe Ryan was a big target, and I think they were just the asking price was way too much for the Red Sox team that they decided to go with a cheaper option of Dustin May. But overall, Joe Ryan's going to be fine with the Twins. I think they're still going to have a good future going forward. They have a lot of good arms there with Joe Ryan, David Festa, Sevy Matthews. I think their future's good. And then Pablo Lopez coming back from injury. I think the Twins just wanted to trade all their expiring contracts, and that's what they did. I mean, they traded Willie Castro. They traded Joan Duran to the Phillies. The guys just kept getting traded all day. Harrison Bader going to the Phillies as well. A lot of trades from the Twins, and they focus on prospects, and they got a lot of great pieces to look forward to in the future. So good for them. Now we have the Kansas City Royals. Overall, it was an okay trade. I would give them a solid C. Were they winners or losers? No. I feel like they got some good pieces. They secured Seth Lugo for the future. Randall Grichuk got him from the D-backs. And overall, it was an okay trade deadline. They're not buyers or sellers. They just kind of focus on their future. And what else can you ask for the Royals right now who are playing 500 ball? Now, I think the big winners of this division was the Detroit Tigers. I feel like the Detroit Tigers, focus on pitching. They know they can't just depend on Skubal and Jack Flaherty. They also picked up a couple arms. Chris Paddock from the Twins is a great addition. And Charlie Morton, an experienced 41-year-old guy. I know a lot of us will say Charlie Morton's too old, but I think Charlie Morton's last couple starts has proven that he still got what it takes to go deep into these games. So Charlie Morton is still there. And with the Tigers now going to be in a playoff contention team, which is good for him. Now, let's go focus on the NL East. Wow. The NL East was definitely one of the most impressive divisions in baseball in this trade deadline. We had a lot of teams making some deep moves. Well, let's start off with the New York Mets. I mean, what do you guys think? That bullpen, is that the answer? They did make some pretty impressive trades. I mean, Ryan Helsley, I know he's a little bit over the hump, but the guy's been pitching pretty good this season. I mean, having an ERA of 2.5. Overall, Ryan Helsley is going to bring an experienced arm to that bullpen, adding him with Edwin Diaz. And not only that, Tyler Rogers from the Giants, who has that unusual delivery, also was traded to the Mets. And now they have a pretty decent bullpen, if you ask me, with Reed Garrett. Man, the team is pretty solid bullpen-wise. Now, they did add an outfielder today. And I'm not sure if it was the answer, but Cedric Mullins defensively, it's impressive. I'm not sure if he's better than Tyrone Taylor. Offensively, will he could deliver? I mean, I think so. I mean, Cedric Mullins is an experienced batter, and I think he provides better runs for the Mets than they need. We got Nick on the question asking who's going to be the closer. And I mean, that's going to be a great question. I still see Edwin Diaz being the closer until he starts being shaky. Other than that, it's Edwin Diaz's job to lose. I think he's going to be the guy in New York still. But overall, I think this team is pretty set right now. I think I'm pretty impressed by this Mets team. They filled in every single hole they were missing. I mean, me and Carlos talked about last show how they could have probably focused on a third baseman. But I think the asking price was way too much, and I think they were not ready to let go of Mark Vientos. I think they're still hoping he could change the season around and, start driving in some more runs for them. But overall, the Mets team did what they were supposed to. They got bullpen help, and they added another outfield depth. Now, had they gotten another starter? Possibly, but overall, this team is there to win. I mean, they have some pretty good starters too. Kodai Senga, Chaminade just returned from injury, and, I mean, David Peterson's there. They have some arms. There's not much to worry about. Stephen Cohen wants to win, and they have to give up a lot to get Taylor Rogers. I mean, but at this point, the Mets are not wasting no time. I mean, Stephen Cohen has said that they'd rather win than focus on the future, and I think at this moment you have to take big risks for a big reward. And I think the Mets are desperate for that World Series, and They don't really care how much they have to give up for a player. As long as it brings them a World Series, that's all that matters for them. So big props to the Mets. I give them an A. But another team in the division also deserves an A, and that's the Philadelphia Phillies. What the heck? What a great trade deadline for me. They also filled in a lot of big holes on their bullpen that they much needed. They got Joan Duran, a closer that throws 104 miles fastball. You cannot ask for a better arm and better closer to add to your arsenal than Joan Duran to the Phillies. That was a huge move. And big props to the Phillies, who did have to give up some young prospects like Mick Abel, a nice starter that was coming up in the league. But hey, you have to win now, and this window is closing very closely for the Phillies right now, so they are desperate into winning. We also added another piece like Harrison Bader, who's going to be a great addition to this roster, a guy that kills lefties and could also play really well defensively, because they've had a lot of question marks with Brandon Marsh and Max Kepler. These guys have been really inconsistent all year round, and you need a guy that could hit lefties, and Harrison Bader is that answer. So I think overall the Phillies had a great trade deadline. They could have had to use probably some infield depth right now, but overall, I don't think they were trying to spend too much on their prospects either, because then they want to focus on the future as well since they're getting much older. So props to the Philly. That's another A. Big winners in this division was the Phillies and the Mets. They were definitely make some impressive moves. Now the Miami Marlins and the Braves. I mean, do you want to make some trades? I mean, you do have Sandy Alcantara there, the biggest piece in baseball, the biggest arm, and you decide to just keep him. Wow. I think that just shocks everyone here. I'm not sure what you're doing. I really don't. And if you're the Marlins team, I mean, I'm not sure you have a team even to compete. You're 3 games under 500. You're finally playing a little bit better, but we all know you don't have enough. I mean, at this point, I think you're just a big loser. Marlin fans, I'm sorry. The team let you down. There was a lot of pieces that could have been traded. Jesus Sanchez was the one and only player that got traded to the Astros. Honestly, they needed way more if they wanted to focus on their future. But I guess they feel like they have a chance to winning closer than we expect. I think us baseball fans don't expect the Marlins to be in contention anytime soon. But I think Marlins, the GM and the owner must think otherwise, because we just don't see it personally. I don't know. Braves, on the other hand, you're also 16 games out of first place, almost 17 games out of 500. Man, I don't know. It was another one. The Braves, you had Marcell Ozuna, a guy over the hump, a guy that's already on an expiring contract. You could have gotten so much for him, for an experienced bat like him, and you just decide to let him stay. I don't understand that one. Sean Murphy, another catcher available. Drake Baldwin already showed that he is the answer, and Sean Murphy's just there. Another expiring contract. These two teams really disappointed me. They didn't really do much, and they could have used some huge help in this trade deadline, and they just didn't. So big losers for this division for sure. Now, the Washington Nationals, yeah, they were sellers, and they did their best. I mean, they did trade Alex Call for James Outman. So that was a good pickup for the Nationals. They did trade off some bullpen pieces. Didn't really get much for it, but hey, they also traded their closer, Kyle Finnegan, to the Tigers, which was a big move. So, I mean, they were doing what they were supposed to as sellers, right? Got to trade all your expiring contracts and all your best pieces, and that's what they did. All right, let's go into the NL Central. Wow, this NL Central was kind of interesting. Our 2 top teams were really quiet. A Cubs team, biggest loser for me in this trade deadline. I honestly can't believe they didn't get a starting rotation pitcher. Michael Soroka is definitely not the answer there. You needed a bigger arms, and you didn't do much. Sandy Alcantara was out there. A lot of names were thrown out there, and you made no attempt to even getting them. I really question what are you trying to do at this point. I don't think Shota Imanaga and Matthew Boyd are going to be the answer. I really don't. I feel like this trade deadline was your chance to finally try to aim to win a World Series, and you didn't do much. So, yeah, I mean, sorry, Cubs, but you're getting a big fat F for this trade deadline. I mean, you're the biggest loser in the trade deadline. You only got Willie Castro, who could potentially play all over the infield, but now where is he going to play? I mean, you have a young stud like Matt Shaw who should be playing and getting more reps, and now you're going to replace him with a veteran like Willie Castro on an expiring contract. and you gave up some pieces for him. I just didn't understand that move. You had to focus on starting rotation, and you didn't. Michael Soroka is not the answer for me. Now, you did get a bullpen guy like Andrew Kittredge. He's an okay arm. I mean, he's good in the bullpen, but other than that, I don't see him answering a lot for you guys. So this Cubs team was the biggest disappointment in baseball today. I think us baseball fans expected way more from them. And just because of the simple fact that Kyle Tucker could potentially be a free agent next year. And you know, you have this small window to have him in this roster, so why not go for it? I don't know, man. This Cubs team was a huge disappointment. Now, the Brewers team, who also has like one of the best records in the National League right now, and almost the best record in baseball, also very quiet. I just did not understand the moves. You traded Nestor Cortez away to the Padres? What the heck are you doing? He's overcoming a nasty injury who was missed all season long, but you're giving Nestor Cortez away just like that? I didn't really understand it. I don't know what this Brewers team. I know they probably didn't feel like they needed Nestor Cortez, so like might as well get some pieces out of him for the future. You did get Jordan Montgomery, which I don't understand there, who's overcoming Tommy John surgery as well. Not really gonna help you this season. So what the heck are you going for him? And then you get Shelby Miller, who's an average, okay pitcher for me. I'm sorry, Shelby Miller's not going to be the difference maker, and I don't think he's going to take you deep into games. So I'm sorry, Brewers. I expected way more. You being the best team in baseball shows that you're still a small market team, and it's not willing to spend. And it's a huge embarrassment because this is why we need a salary floor in the baseball, not a salary cap, a salary floor. We need teams to spend more money. I'm sorry. This salary cap bullshit had to stop. We need teams to spend. And this Brewers team had the opportunity to make a deep run in this playoffs had they bolstered their pitching and their bullpen and their infield. What did they do? Crap. They didn't do nothing. So big fat F for the Brewers. This is their once and only chance to possibly make the World Series, and we decide not to go for it. So that's a huge disappointment for me. Now the Cardinals, another team, didn't do much besides trade Brian Helsey. Now you had guys like Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan there, Nolan Arenado, and nothing happened. What the heck are you holding on for these guys? What future? I don't think these guys are going to be the answer. We got Nick Gates on the chat. I know he's a big Cardinals fan. Let us know, Nick, how did your team do this trade deadline? Are you happy or are you pissed off? Let us know, because as a baseball fan, this was a bad trade deadline in my eyes. I didn't see them do crap either. So this NL Central was definitely one of the weakest teams that didn't do much this trade deadline, besides the Pirates, who did give up a lot of their pieces besides Paul Skeens and Andrew McCutchen. They got a lot of pieces. They traded Bailey Falter. Mitch Keller was supposed to be traded, did not get traded. Andrew Heaney was supposed to get traded, did not get traded. So there was some pieces potentially being able to be traded. O'Neal Cruz was also being mentioned, but the Pirates decided to hold on to these guys. Overall, they had a C average grade for me. They made some right moves, but also could have made some better moves. Now, lastly, for this team in the NL Central, the Cincinnati Reds, who are 5 games above 500, 3 games out of the wild card. What are you guys thinking? Should they be buyers or sellers this trade deadline? Well, they were actually buyers. They went for Ke'Bryan Hayes, which was a big move. I think they have him locked into 2030, so it's not a guy that's going to be too expensive. I think they hope to get better offensive numbers for him, but overall, I think he's just playing okay right now, and they did okay. They did get a pitcher like Zach Little from the Rays. Is he going to be the difference maker? Possibly not, but I think they are expecting big things from Hunter Greene once he returns from the trade deadline. All right. Now let's focus on the last division in baseball for the winners and losers, and that is the NL West. Wow, this NL West was definitely one of the craziest trade deadlines we could have thought. And it all starts with the biggest winner in this division. It is the San Diego Padres. As we mentioned earlier in the show, they made the biggest splashes by going for Mason Miller. You know, they went for Ramon Laureano, Ryan O'Hearn, Nestor Cortez, you name it. They gave up a lot of their farm system just to get these pieces, but they're not messing around this year. AJ Preller took something out of his, sleeve, and he said, it's my time to win. It's time to beat these LA Dodgers. And can they beat the Dodgers? That's a question. With this roster they have built right now, they have potentially the capabilities of beating this Dodgers that is banged up. So, you can't go wrong with Nestor Cortez. Just make sure he's not facing Freddie Freeman in the 9th inning, and you're okay. Overall, their bullpen is built to win with Adrian Morjan, Jason Adam, Robert Suarez, and Mason Miller and Jeremiah Estrada. I think this team is there to win. You could have a bullpen game for all you want, and I think this Padres team could win. So, man, big props to the Padres. I know it's kind of risky, but if you take big risks, there's a bigger reward sometimes. And I think this Padres team is another team that wants to win the World Series and is desperate to get to the promised land, and they potentially could get there. So good for the Padres. Big, big, big win. Now the Dodger fans, how are you guys feeling about this trade deadline? I think overall the Dodgers did okay. I mean, they did get rid of Dustin May, and which was kind of interesting because I think he could have still used him as a long reliever. I know he's going on to an expiring contract next year, but I was pretty shocked they gave him away. I mean, they did get a pretty good prospect from not from the Giants. It was a Giants top prospect, but now it was the Red Sox top prospect. So that's pretty cool. Now, a big shocker was letting go of James Outman for Alex Call, which was another interesting time for the Dodgers. I mean, Alex Call is another top prospect who's finally going to get a chance and an opportunity to play for this Dodger team, who's been stuck in the AAA behind James Wood. So this was his opportunity to shine. With Michael Conforto having a down season, I think this is Alex Call's time to prove that he deserves to be in a major league roster. So overall, this Dodger team did get Brock Stewart, a good arm. And I think overall, Brock Stewart could help the Dodgers in the bullpen and returns home. I apologize. James Outman is actually not going to where I said he was going. He's actually going to the Twins from this Brock Stewart trade, which is kind of interesting. Just want to correct myself there. Overall, the Giants traded their bullpen away. They're being total sellers, and I think it was the right moves to do. I don't think they were going to make a deep run. They had a great start to the first half, but they finally took the wrong turn now, so they're going south. The Diamondbacks sellers, the Rockies sellers, I mean, the Diamondbacks could have still traded Zach Gallen. They could have gotten a big, big return from him. So big, big, big disappointment from the Diamondbacks. I think overall they make the big splash trades to get rid of their players, but they could have gotten a little bit more pieces from them. Now the Rockies, what can we say? They did what they were supposed to. They traded Jacob Bird and Wright McMahon, and that was pretty much it. Pretty quiet trade deadline, if you ask me. But overall, what a trade deadline. Definitely the winners and losers. There was a lot of teams making trades, which was a good one. Well, I want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We had a great show. I just want to have a little quick recap with you guys here, and thank you for always stopping by and talking baseball to Real Talk here. And make sure to hit that like and subscribe to our channel. If you're a first-time listener, we'll appreciate if you will subscribe to our channel. And, make sure to check out our other social media platforms so we can continue to grow this channel. And overall, I think we had a great show, and we hope to see you guys Sunday for our Power Hour show. This was just a quick special edition show for the West Coast people. Just break down the trade deadline. There was a lot going on at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock our time. And, it was hard to keep up, but we had to, man. Baseball is beautiful like that. And this trade deadline was definitely one to remember. I think we had the biggest trades ever, and a lot of teams got way better, and I'm excited to see this playoff baseball going forward because a lot of teams are built to win now. Now the question mark is, which of these teams are going to go deep? Because it's going to be a challenging run for a lot of these teams. A lot of teams are built to win. So we'll see you guys next Sunday. I hope to see you guys soon, and make sure to hit that like and subscribe. We'll catch you guys on the next show. Thank you. This is Ernie Orange signing.